I'm standing in the back office of Rosewood Bistro, my knees pressed against the cold tile floor, and I can't breathe. My hands are shaking so badly I have to grip the edge of the desk just to keep myself upright. On the computer screen in front of me, frozen in perfect clarity, are two people I thought I knew better than anyone in the world. My husband Garrett, my mother Patricia. They're not sitting across from each other like they were when I left an hour ago. No. Garrett has moved to her side of the booth, his arm wrapped around her shoulders, pulling her close against his body. And my mother, my own mother, has her hand resting on his chest, her fingers curled into his shirt, like she owns him, like she has every right to touch him that way. But that's not even the worst part. Spread across the table between them, illuminated by the soft restaurant lighting, are papers I recognize immediately. The blue binding, the gold seal, the letterhead from Patterson and Associates law firm. Those are my father's estate documents, the ones that should be locked in the safe in my bedroom closet. The ones that contain everything my father left me when he died 6 months ago. The properties, the investments, the bank accounts, everything he spent his entire life building. And my phone. My stupid phone that I forgot when I rushed out of here. Sitting right there on the table next to those documents, like a silent witness to whatever is happening in this frozen moment. Behind me, Nicole the waitress is breathing fast, almost panicking. Her hand hovers over the computer mouse, trembling. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I'm so sorry you have to see this. But you need to know. You need to see what they did after you left. What they're planning." Planning? My brain feels like it's moving through mud. What could they possibly be planning? And why are they sitting like that? So close, so intimate. Why does my mother have that expression on her face? That soft, almost dreamy look I've never seen before. Just wait, I managed to say, my voice cracking. There has to be an explanation. Maybe they're planning a surprise for me. Maybe those papers are about setting up a trust or something. Maybe, Jessica. Nicole's voice is firm now, cutting through my desperate rambling. I've been working here for 8 months. I've seen them meet here 7 times before this. 7 times. Always when you weren't around. Always touching each other like this. Always whispering and looking around like they're afraid someone will see them. This isn't about planning surprises. 7 times. The words hit me like a slap. I think back over the past 8 months, trying to remember. When would they have met? When was I not around? Oh God. All those times Garrett said he had evening property showings with clients. All those times Mum said she was at her book club or visiting her friend Linda. All those casual mentions of, "Oh, I ran into your mother today," or "I had coffee with Garrett this morning." I thought it was nice that they got along. I thought it was wonderful that my husband and my mother had developed their own friendship. I was so stupid. "How far back does this footage go?" I ask, my throat tight. "I can show you clips from 3 months ago. Maybe longer if you want." Nicole clicks something, and the screen changes, showing a date stamp from September. "But what happened tonight?" That's what made me know I had to tell you. That's when they talked about the real plan. That's when I heard everything. My heart is hammering so hard I can feel it in my teeth. "Show me. Start from when I left." Nicole nods and clicks back to tonight's footage. She drags the timeline back and presses play. I watch myself on the screen, standing up from the table, kissing Garrett on the cheek, hugging my mother goodbye. It was supposed to be Mum's birthday dinner. 58 years old today. We'd had wine, shared appetizers, laughed about old memories. Everything seemed perfect. On the screen, I see myself walk away toward the exit, pulling out my phone to check the supposed urgent work email that had come through. I watch myself disappear from view. Then I watch Garrett and my mother. For exactly 2 minutes, they sit properly. Garrett on his side of the booth, Mum on hers. They're not even looking at each other. They're just waiting. The timestamp in the corner ticks forward. 1 minute. 2 minutes. Then Garrett glances toward the door where I left. He says something to Patricia. She nods, and everything changes. Garrett stands up, takes his wine glass, and slides into the booth next to my mother. Not across from her, next to her. close enough that their bodies are touching from shoulder to hip. My mother doesn't move away. She doesn't look surprised. She shifts slightly to make room for him. Like this is normal. Like they've done this 100 times before. Garrett puts his arm around her shoulders. Patricia leans into him, tilting her head until it rests against his neck. They sit like that for a moment, just holding each other, and there's something about the ease of it, the comfort, that makes me want to throw up. This isn't new. This is practiced. This is familiar. Then Garrett takes my mother's face in both his hands and turns her toward him, and he kisses her. Not a friendly peck, not a quick brush of lips, a real kiss, deep and long and intimate. The kind of kiss that makes my stomach twist because I recognize it. That's how Garrett used to kiss me when we first started dating, before we got married, when he still pretended to be madly in love with me. My mother's hand comes up to touch his face. Her fingers slide into his hair. She's kissing him back. When they finally break apart, she's smiling, actually smiling, and even without sound I can read her lips clearly. I've missed you. The room spins. I grip the desk harder, my knuckles white. Nicole pauses the footage and looks at me with genuine sympathy in her eyes. I know this is horrible, she says quietly. I know you probably want to run out of here and pretend you never saw this. But Jessica, there's more. So much more. They're not just having an affair. They're planning something with your father's estate. I heard them talking. I heard everything. I can't speak, can't think. My husband and my mother. How long? How long has this been happening? Was it before we got married? During our wedding? On our anniversary last month when we all had dinner together and toasted to family? On the screen, frozen now, Garrett is reaching into his jacket. I can see the corner of an envelope, thick with papers. Those estate documents. How did he get them out of our safe? When did he make copies? Keep playing it, I whisper. My voice doesn't sound like mine anymore. It sounds cold and distant, like it's coming from somewhere outside my body. Nicole hesitates. Are you sure? Once you see the rest, once you hear what they say, there's no going back from this. I think about my father, how he died 6 months ago after a sudden heart attack, how he left me everything because he loved me, because he wanted me taken care of, how I cried at his funeral while Mom stood beside me, holding my hand, whispering that we'd get through this together. How Garrett held me every night while I grieved, promising he'd always be there, always protect me. All lies. Everything was lies. Play it, I say again. I need to see everything. I need to know exactly what they've done. Nicole takes a deep breath and clicks the mouse. The footage continues, and my whole world begins to crumble. Nicole turns a dial on the computer, and suddenly I can hear them. The security system records audio at certain tables, and apparently, the corner booth where we sat for dinner is one of them. My mother's voice comes through the speakers, tinny but unmistakably hers. Are you sure she's really gone? She won't come back. Garrett's reply is casual, almost bored. She'll be at least an hour. That email I sent from the fake work account will keep her busy. She's probably halfway to the office by now, panicking about a crisis that doesn't exist. The fake work account. He sent me that urgent email. He created the emergency that pulled me away from dinner. This was planned. All of it. On screen, Garrett pulls out that thick envelope I saw before and spreads papers across the table. Even in the grainy footage, I can identify them now. Property deeds, bank statements, investment portfolios, copies of my father's will, documents that detail every single asset I inherited. My mother leans forward, her reading glasses perched on her nose, studying each paper carefully. She points to something on one of the deeds. This one, the commercial property on Hammond Street. That's worth at least $800,000, right? According to the last appraisal, yes. Garrett slides another paper toward her. But this is the big one. The Lake House property. $2.3 million. Once we transfer that into the LLC, we can have it sold within a month. LLC? What LLC? I don't own any limited liability company. I never set one up. Patricia picks up what looks like a legal document, squinting at the fine print. And you're certain the power of attorney I had her sign gives us the authority to do this? My blood turns to ice. Last month, when I was drowning in paperwork and grief, Mum came over with a stack of documents. She said they were simplified forms to help me manage Dad's estate, that they'd protect me from legal complications. Garrett had been there too, explaining everything in his calm, professional voice. He used all these real estate terms, made it sound so official and necessary. I signed them. I signed them because I trusted them, because they were my family. Garrett nods on the screen. The power of attorney is ironclad. My lawyer made sure of it. She signed over financial management rights to both of us, thinking it was just for estate administration. But the way it's worded, we can do whatever we want. Transfer properties, access accounts, liquidate assets. All perfectly legal because she gave us permission. My brilliant boy. Mum's voice is warm, affectionate. She reaches over and runs her fingers down Garrett's arm. I knew you were smart the first moment I met you. That's why I came to you with this plan in the first place. Wait. What? Nicole glances at me, her expression grim. Keep listening. This is where it gets worse. Garrett takes my mother's hand, threading his fingers through hers. The gesture is so intimate, so natural, it makes me physically ill. I still can't believe it worked so perfectly. You really thought she'd be a good mark? Patricia laughs. Actually laughs. The sound is light and carefree, nothing like the careful, measured way she usually speaks. Oh, I knew my daughter was perfect for this. Jessica was always naive, always trusting. Even as a child, she believed everything I told her. And after her father filled her head with all that nonsense about family loyalty and loving your mother no matter what, well, she was practically gift-wrapped for someone like you. Someone like him. My hands are shaking so badly I have to sit down on the floor. Nicole crouches beside me, but I wave her away. I need to hear this. All of it. On screen, Garrett shifts closer to Patricia, his arm returning to her shoulders. Tell me again, how long have you been planning this? Since the divorce? Patricia's voice turns bitter. 15 years ago, that bastard divorced me and gave me almost nothing. Said I was manipulative. Said I was toxic. Said he wanted to protect Jessica from my influence. He turned my own daughter against me. Made her his little princess while I struggled to survive on a pathetic alimony payment. I remember the divorce. I was 19. Dad sat me down and explained that he and Mum couldn't be together anymore, that they'd grown apart. He never said anything bad about her. Never poisoned me against her. He gave her the house, gave her money, made sure she was taken care of. And she's calling it nothing? When he got sick 2 years ago, Patricia continues, her voice tight with old anger, I knew he'd leave everything to Jessica. He always loved her more than me. Always. So I started planning. I needed someone on the inside, someone who could get close to her, marry her, gain her trust. She looks up at Garrett with something that might be admiration or might be lust. I found you through a friend. She said you specialized in, what did she call it? Romantic acquisitions. Garrett smirks. I prefer to think of it as strategic relationship management. You were perfect. Handsome, charming, just her type. I gave you all the information you needed. Where she worked, what she liked, her favorite coffee shop. I even arranged for you to accidentally meet her at that networking event 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the downtown business mixer where I met Garrett. He'd spilled his drink on my dress, apologized profusely, offered to buy me dinner to make up for it. I thought it was fate. I thought it was a romantic comedy meet-cute. It was a setup. A con. From the very first moment. I'll admit, Garrett says, dating her was tedious at first. All that talk about her feelings and her day and her stupid marketing campaigns. But the payoff was worth it. And then, meeting you. He pulls Patricia closer, kissing her temple. Finding out that the mother was so much more interesting than the daughter, that was an unexpected bonus. My mother practically purrs. We do work well together, don't we? When did it start? Garrett asks. Us, I mean. When did this stop being just business? Patricia thinks for a moment. Remember when you came to my house to ask about Jessica before you'd even approached her? You were doing reconnaissance, making sure she was worth the effort. We sat in my kitchen for 3 hours talking. You were so confident, so ruthless. I knew then that you were different from the weak, pathetic men I'd known. You reminded me of what I could have been if I hadn't wasted 20 years married to Jessica's father. I remember. Garrett's voice drops lower, intimate. You told me you hated him. Hated that he'd rather give everything to his precious daughter than take care of the woman who'd given him the best years of her life. I did hate him. I still hate him, even dead. Patricia's words are poison. And I hate that Jessica got everything. The love, the money, the properties, the insurance payout. $400,000 from his life insurance policy alone. All to her, nothing to me. Like our marriage meant nothing. Well, Garrett says, pulling out another document. She won't have it for much longer. Look at this. He spreads out what looks like a bank statement. Even from the camera angle, I can see it's from an account I don't recognize. The balance shows over $900,000. This is our offshore account, Garrett explains. Every time Jessica signs something we put in front of her, we move more money. 5,000 here, 10,000 there. Small enough not to trigger bank alerts. We've been doing this for 4 months now, and she hasn't noticed a single transfer. 4 months. Since 2 months after Dad died, while I was still crying myself to sleep every night. They were systematically robbing me. Nicole pauses the video. Jessica, I need to tell you something. That account they're talking about. I have a friend who works in financial investigation. If you want, I can. Keep playing, I interrupt. My voice sounds strange in my own ears. Hollow. I need to hear everything. Nicole looks worried but obeys. The footage continues. Patricia is studying the bank statement with satisfaction. 900,000 already. That's beautiful. But we need to move faster. I want to be out of the country within 2 months. I'm tired of pretending to care about her. Tired of playing the concerned mother. Costa Rica is waiting. Costa Rica? Garrett grins. You really have been planning. I've had 15 years to plan, darling. I know exactly where we'll go, how we'll live. I've already got a villa picked out. She traces a finger down his chest. Just you, me, and Jessica's inheritance. Everything her father meant for her, we'll spend together. My vision blurs with tears, but I force myself to keep watching. On the screen, Garrett pulls my mother closer, and she tilts her head to look up at him. There's something in her expression I've never seen before, genuine happiness, real affection. All the warmth she never showed me, she's showing him. What about Brandon? Garrett asks. Your son has been asking questions. He wants to know when he'll get his cut. Brandon, my brother. The word hits me like a physical blow. Nicole reaches over and squeezes my shoulder, but I barely feel it. Patricia waves her hand dismissively. Brandon will get his 20%, just like we agreed. He's been useful with the legal side of things. All those forged notary stamps, the fake property appraisals, the backdated documents, we couldn't have done it without his paralegal skills. I think about all the times Brandon offered to help with the estate paperwork, how he'd come over with documents that needed my signature, explaining them in legal terms I didn't quite understand. He'd make jokes about how boring it all was, pour me wine, distract me while I signed page after page. I trusted him. He's my brother, my only sibling, and he's been forging documents to help them steal from me. He's getting impatient though, Garrett says. Called me yesterday asking when we're executing the final phase. Said something about wanting to buy a boat with his share. Tell him to be patient. Patricia's voice turns sharp, cold. He'll get his money when we're safely out of the country, not before. I don't trust him not to do something stupid and blow this whole operation. Operation. They're calling the destruction of my life an operation. On screen, Patricia pulls out her phone and taps at it for a moment before turning it to show Garrett. Look at this. I accessed her bank accounts this morning through the power of attorney portal. She still hasn't noticed anything wrong. Garrett takes the phone, scrolling with his finger. His face lights up. Beautiful. How much have we moved in total now? From the regular accounts? About 130,000 so far. Small transfers, nothing that would trigger fraud alerts. She checks her statements so rarely, and when she does, she's usually tired or distracted. A few thousand missing here and there just looks like bills or expenses. $130,000. Gone. While I thought I was carefully managing my inheritance, being responsible with my father's legacy, they were bleeding me dry in amounts too small for me to notice immediately. And the life insurance money? Garrett asks. The $400,000 from the policy? Patricia smiles, and it's the most disturbing thing I've seen yet. It's proud, triumphant, transferred to the LLC account yesterday afternoon. She signed the authorization form last week, thought she was setting up an estate management fund like we told her. Had no idea that LLC is owned by shell companies that lead back to offshore accounts we control. $400,000. Dad's life insurance policy. The money he made sure I'd have in case something happened to him. The money that was supposed to keep me secure, help me through my grief, give me a cushion while I figured out life without him. Stolen. With my own signature. Nicole pauses the video again and looks at me with genuine concern. Do you need to stop? We can take a break. No. My voice is steel now. The tears have stopped. Something else is rising in me, something cold and focused. Don't stop. I want to see it all. She nods, and the footage continues. Garrett hands the phone back to Patricia and pulls out yet another document from his seemingly endless supply. Speaking of the LLC, look at what came through today. The property transfer documents for the Hammond Street commercial building. Your signature was notarized this morning. By Brandon, Patricia adds with a smirk. He does such good work with that fake notary stamp. The county recorder's office will never know the difference. I never signed anything about the Hammond Street property today. I was at work all morning, then came straight to this dinner, which means they forged my signature, again, and used a fake notary seal to make it legal. That property is worth $800,000 according to what they said earlier. It's gone, transferred to their fraudulent LLC without my knowledge. How many properties have we transferred so far? Garrett asks. Patricia counts on her fingers. 3 of the smaller residential properties last month, the commercial space today. That leaves the lake house and the downtown office building. Those are the big ones, $3.7 million combined. Once we get those transferred and sold, we're set for life. $3.7 million. My father's most valuable properties. The lake house where we spent every summer when I was growing up, where Dad taught me to fish and told me stories on the dock. The office building that was his first major investment. The one he was so proud of. They're going to sell them, liquidate my memories for cash. Garrett leans back in the booth, and his arm slides lower around Patricia's waist. Timeline. When can we move on the big properties? Next week for the lake house, Patricia says. I've already got the transfer documents prepared. Brandon will forge the signatures and notarization on Monday. The downtown building is trickier. It has tenants and existing contracts. But my contact at the title company says we can push through a quick sale if we're willing to take slightly under market value. Maybe 2.1 instead of 2.3 million. Do it, Garrett says immediately. Speed is more important than squeezing out every dollar. The longer this takes, the more chance Jessica notices something. My name in his mouth sounds wrong now. Like a stranger's name. Like he doesn't know me at all. Maybe he never did. Patricia nods. Agreed. I'll tell the title company to move forward. We should have the sale completed within 3 weeks. Add that to what we've already moved, plus the smaller properties, and we're looking at over $5 million total. $5 million. That's not even my entire inheritance. Dad left me more than that. But it's enough to destroy me financially. Enough to take away the security he wanted me to have. Enough to fund their new life together while leaving me with nothing. What about the jewelry? Garrett asks. The family heirlooms. In my safety deposit box already, Patricia says with satisfaction. I convinced her to let me keep them safe after her father died. Said I wanted to protect them from burglars since she lives alone. Well, she lives with you, but she doesn't know I know you're not really protecting anything. The jewelry. Grandma's diamond necklace. Great-grandmother's sapphire ring. The pearl earrings that have been in our family for 4 generations. Dad specifically left them to me in the will, made sure they were catalogued and documented. Mum offered to put them in her safety deposit box for safekeeping, and I let her because I thought she was being helpful. They're gone. She's already stolen them. On screen, Garrett is kissing my mother's neck now, his hand moving along her side. I should look away, but I can't. I need to see this. Need to understand exactly who these people are. You know what I can't wait for? Patricia murmurs, tilting her head to give him better access. The moment she realizes it's all gone. When the bank statements finally show the truth. When she goes to access an account and finds it empty. When she tries to visit the lake house and discovers it's been sold. Garrett lifts his head, grinning. Will you be there to see her face? Oh, no. We'll be long gone by then, sipping cocktails on a beach in Costa Rica, spending her money. Patricia's smile is vicious. I'll imagine her panic, her confusion, her pathetic tears, just like I imagined it every time her father chose her over me. Every birthday party he threw for her while forgetting mine. Every time he told her she was special and looked at me like I was nothing. The bitterness in her voice is bottomless. How long has she hated me? Has it always been there, hidden behind her smiles and hugs? Behind every "I love you" and "I'm proud of you"? She'll go to the police, Garrett says, but he doesn't sound worried. Let her. Patricia straightens up, her expression turning calculating. That's where phase 2 comes in, the mental health angle. I've been laying groundwork for months. Mental health angle? Ice floods my veins. Garrett sits up straighter, interested. Tell me about that. I know you mentioned it before, but what exactly have you been doing? Patricia pulls out her phone again, scrolling through something. I've been very careful, very strategic. It started about 2 months after her father died, when she was at her most vulnerable. She holds up the phone to show Garrett. Look at these text messages I sent to her old college friends. See? I express concern about Jessica's mental state. I mention she's been making impulsive decisions, acting erratic, saying things that don't make sense. My stomach turns. I remember those texts from my friends, checking in on me, asking if I was okay, saying my mum had mentioned I seemed off. I thought Mum was just worried about me. I thought she was being a caring mother, reaching out to my support system. She was poisoning them against me, planting seeds of doubt. And her work colleagues? Garrett asks. Even better. Patricia swipes to show him emails. I had lunch with her boss 3 weeks ago. Mentioned casually that Jessica hasn't been herself since her father's death. Said I was worried she might be making poor decisions, that grief can do strange things to people. I suggested, very subtly, that the company might want to keep an eye on her judgment, especially regarding financial matters. I remember that lunch. Mum said she wanted to meet my boss, Margaret, to thank her for being supportive during my grief. Margaret seemed concerned afterward, asked me several times if I was managing okay, if I needed more time off. I thought she was being kind. She was being made to doubt my competence. Brilliant, Garrett says, and he sounds genuinely impressed. So when Jessica realizes the money is gone and starts accusing us of theft, everyone will think she's having a mental breakdown, Patricia finishes. Her friends, her boss, her colleagues, they've all been primed to see her as unstable, grief-stricken, not thinking clearly. When she starts making wild accusations about her husband and mother conspiring to steal from her, it'll sound like paranoid delusions. Garrett laughs. Actually laughs. And I've been building my own case. Want to see? He pulls out his phone and starts showing Patricia something. They lean close together, heads touching, scrolling through whatever evidence he's manufactured. I've been documenting her concerning behavior for months. Look, text messages where I express worry about her mental state. Voice recordings of her crying, edited to sound more unhinged than they were. Photos I've staged to make it look like she's been neglecting herself, the house, basic responsibilities. Those recordings. All those nights I broke down crying about Dad. Garrett held me and let me sob into his chest. I thought he was being supportive. He was recording me, collecting ammunition. And the best part, Garrett continues, swiping to show something else. I've been keeping a journal, dated entries, written in concerned husband voice, documenting all her alleged erratic behavior, mood swings, irrational decisions, paranoid thoughts. None of it's true, obviously, but it reads very convincingly. Patricia actually claps her hands together. Oh, you're good. So when she accuses us, I'll have months of documentation showing I was worried about her declining mental state. I'll show concern, maybe even some tears. I'll suggest she needs professional help. And if she pushes too hard with the theft accusations, he pauses dramatically, I'll file for an involuntary psychiatric evaluation. The room spins. I grip the edge of the desk so hard my fingers ache. Nicole makes a small sound of distress beside me. You can do that, Patricia asks, if I can demonstrate she's a danger to herself or others due to mental illness. Yes. And with all this documentation, plus her delusional accusations of theft that we can easily disprove with the forged documents showing she authorized everything, any judge would sign the order. They're planning to have me committed. If I fight back, if I try to expose them, they'll use my grief against me. They'll paint me as crazy, get me locked in a psychiatric facility. And by the time I get out, if I get out, everything will be gone. How long would they keep her? Patricia's voice is eager, excited. 72 hours minimum for evaluation. But if I really sell it, if I push the narrative that she's genuinely unstable, it could be weeks. Maybe longer. Garrett pockets his phone. And while she's locked up, unable to access her accounts or make any legal moves, we finish liquidating everything and disappear. Patricia leans into him, running her hand up his chest. You've thought of everything. This is why I chose you. This is why I knew we'd be perfect together. We are perfect together, Garrett agrees, cupping her face. Much better than I ever was with Jessica. God, pretending to love her was exhausting. All her neediness, her emotions, her constant need for reassurance. She gets that from her father, Patricia says bitterly. He was the same way. Always so sensitive, so concerned about feelings and doing the right thing. Weak. Both of them. Weak. My father wasn't weak. He was kind. He was good. And they're twisting that goodness into something shameful because they can't understand it, because they've never felt it. Garrett kisses my mother then. And this time it's not quick or tentative. It's deep and hungry, like they've been waiting all evening to do this. When they break apart, both of them are breathing hard. 2 more weeks, Patricia whispers. 2 more weeks of playing the concerned mother. Then we're gone. 2 more weeks of sleeping next to Jessica, pretending I love her, Garrett adds. Last night she told me she felt so lucky to have me. Said her father would have been proud of the man she married. They both laugh at that. The sound of their laughter makes something inside me crystallize into pure, cold rage. Speaking of dear old Dad, Patricia says, did I tell you what Jessica said at his funeral? She stood at his grave and promised she'd honor his legacy, protect everything he built, make him proud. Patricia's voice drips with mockery. She has no idea his legacy is about to fund our retirement in paradise. Nicole stops the footage. She turns to me, and I see tears streaming down her face. Jessica, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you had to hear that. But I'm not crying anymore. Something has shifted inside me. The devastation, the heartbreak, the betrayal. It's all still there, but it's been forged into something harder, something focused. Keep going, I say. There's more, isn't there? Yes, but show me. All of it. I need to know exactly what they've done. Every detail. Every plan. Every lie. Nicole wipes her eyes and nods. Okay. But this next part. They talk about what happens after. About the divorce papers Garrett's already prepared. About how they're going to make sure you can never come after them legally. Show me. She takes a shaky breath and resumes the footage. On screen, Garrett reaches into his jacket and pulls out one more document. This one has a red cover. Official looking. Even before he opens it, I know what it is. Divorce papers. I almost forgot, Garrett says, sliding them across to Patricia. Fresh from my lawyer. Once we're safely in Costa Rica with the money, I'll file these remotely. She'll be served while we're completely unreachable. Patricia picks up the papers, examining them with the same attention she gave the property documents. "What about the prenup we signed?" Garrett smiles, and it's the coldest expression I've ever seen on his face. That's the beauty of it. Remember that LLC fraud clause I buried in the transfer documents she signed last month? Patricia nods slowly, starting to understand. The fraud clause invalidates the prenup completely, Garrett finishes. When the properties are discovered to have been fraudulently transferred, which they will be, because we made sure to leave just enough of a trail, the prenup becomes void under its own terms. She thought she was protected. She thought if we ever divorced, the prenup would keep her inheritance safe from me. He laughs, shaking his head like he can't believe how clever he is. But once the fraud is uncovered, I'm entitled to half of everything that's left, which will be nothing because we'll have already cleaned her out. The beauty is, even if she somehow proves we stole from us, which she won't, because we've covered our tracks perfectly, the legal fees alone will bankrupt her. She'll spend years in court, destroy her reputation, lose her job, and end up with nothing anyway. Patricia sets down the divorce papers and picks up a pen from her purse. I watch in horror as she signs her name at the bottom of one of the pages. A witness signature. My own mother is pre-signing as a witness to my divorce. A divorce designed to complete my total destruction. "When do you file these?" she asks, handing the papers back. "The day after we land in Costa Rica. I'll use an online filing service. Have the papers served to her workplace for maximum embarrassment. By the time she gets them, we'll be untraceable." Garrett carefully puts the papers back in his jacket. My lawyer assures me that even if she tries to contest it, the process will take months. And with her mental health issues that I've documented, no judge will take her seriously. Perfect. Patricia checks her watch. "We should probably wrap this up. She's been gone almost an hour." Garrett nods and starts gathering the documents, organizing them back into neat stacks. But then Patricia reaches out and grabs his wrist, stopping him. Her expression turns serious. "Before we go, I need to tell you something. Something I've never told anyone." "What is it?" Patricia looks down at the table, and for a moment something almost human crosses her face. Almost like regret. But when she speaks, I realize it's not regret at all. I never loved him, Jessica's father. I married him for his money, his potential. He was building a successful business, and I wanted access to that. But he was smarter than I thought. When he divorced me, he made sure I got as little as possible, legal minimum. Her voice hardens. And then he turned my daughter against me. Made her his precious little princess while I got nothing. Every birthday, every Christmas, every achievement, he celebrated with her while barely acknowledging I existed. That must have been hard, Garrett says, but his tone suggests he doesn't really care. He's just making conversation. Hard? It was humiliating. Watching him pour all his love and money into Jessica while I struggled. When he got sick, I actually hoped, I prayed, that he'd finally see me, finally give me what I deserved. Instead, his will left me an insulting token amount and gave everything to her. Patricia's hands clench into fists. Do you know what he wrote in his will? "To my daughter Jessica, I leave everything, knowing she will honor my legacy and use these resources with wisdom and compassion." She spits the words like poison. And then, as a footnote, literally a footnote, "To my ex-wife Patricia, I leave $50,000, hoping she finds peace." 50,000. After 20 years of marriage. After giving him a son and daughter. He gave Jessica millions and left me with pocket change and a condescending hope that I'd find peace. Garrett squeezes her hand. "Well, now you're taking what should have been yours all along. What we're taking. Together." "Yes." Patricia looks up at him, and her smile is vicious. "I should have drowned her when she was born. Would have saved us all this trouble. At least now she'll end up with nothing, just like I did. She'll know what it feels like to be cast aside, to watch everything slip away. Ungrateful little brat got all her father's love while I got nothing. Now she'll feel what I felt." Those words hit me like a physical blow. My own mother wishing she'd killed me as a baby. I feel Nicole's hand on my shoulder, steadying me, But I can't look away from the screen. Garrett checks his watch. We need to go. Different exits like always. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow at 10. The lawyer has the final documents ready. Patricia stands, smoothing her dress. 2 more weeks, darling. Just 2 more weeks of this charade. They embrace one final time, a long, passionate kiss that makes my stomach turn. When they pull apart, Garrett walks back to our table one more time. He picks up my phone, the one I forgot, and slips it into his pocket. I'll tell her the restaurant called, he says with a smirk. She'll never suspect I've been in her phone this whole time, approving transfers, accessing accounts. Patricia laughs. My brilliant boy. I'll see you tomorrow. They exit through different doors, and the restaurant falls silent. The footage continues, showing the empty booth for another minute before Nicole stops it. That's everything, she whispers. I sit there, staring at the frozen screen. Then something shifts inside me. The grief, the betrayal, the shock. It all crystallizes into something cold and sharp. Clarity. Nicole, I say, my voice surprisingly steady. I need you to copy all of this. Every second of footage, every word of audio. Can you do that? Yes. I already started when I first saw what was happening. I have it on 3 USB drives. She pulls them from her pocket. I also called someone while you were watching. My friend Detective Rivera. He works financial crimes. He's on his way here now. He's coming here? Now. He'll be here in 10 minutes. I told him what I witnessed. Jessica, with this evidence, they're going to prison. All of them. Prison. The word should make me feel something, but I'm numb. No, not numb. Focused. My father's a state attorney, I say, pulling out my work phone from my purse. I need to call him right now. Before they can move anything else, I dial Gerald Chen, my father's lawyer who handled the estate. He answers groggily. Jessica? It's after 9. Gerald, I need emergency injunctions filed first thing tomorrow morning. Freeze all estate accounts, halt all pending property transfers, revoke any powers of attorney I signed. Everything. What? Jessica, what's happened? My husband and mother have been defrauding me. I have video evidence, but I need those accounts frozen immediately before they can steal anything else. There's a sharp intake of breath. I'll start the paperwork tonight. I'll have injunctions ready to file when the courthouse opens at 8 a.m. But you need to involve the police. Already happening. Thank you, Gerald. I'm about to hang up when he says, Jessica, wait. Your father had a clause in his will. A protection clause. I helped him write. If anyone attempted to defraud you of your inheritance through coercion or forgery, the will specified that all their rights to any portion of the estate would be immediately terminated, and they'd be liable for triple damages. Triple damages. My father knew. Somehow, he knew someone might try this. He was protecting me, I whisper. Always. He loved you more than anything. Now go protect what he left you. I hang up just as headlights flash through the restaurant windows. An unmarked police car pulls up, and a tall man in his 40s steps out. Detective Rivera. Nicole lets him in, and within minutes, we're all in the back office. Rivera watches the footage in silence, his expression growing darker with each passing minute. When it ends, he sits back and exhales slowly. This is one of the clearest cases of conspiracy to commit fraud I've ever seen, he says. They confessed to everything, documented their entire scheme. He looks at me. Missus. Chen, with your permission, I'd like to move on this tonight. We can have warrants within 2 hours and make arrests before morning. Tonight? My heart races. But won't they? Run? Not if we move fast. Your husband thinks you're clueless. Your mother thinks she's won. They're not going anywhere yet. Rivera pulls out his phone. I'm calling the district attorney now. We'll need warrants for both residences, all financial records, everything. But with this evidence, we'll have them. Everything happens so fast after that. Rivera makes calls. Gerald calls back to say he's already filed emergency protective orders electronically with a judge he knows. Nicole makes coffee. And I sit there, watching the footage replay over and over, memorizing every word they said. At 11:30 p.m., Rivera gets the call. Warrants are signed. We're moving now. I want to be there, I say immediately. When you arrest him, I want to see his face. Rivera hesitates. That's not standard procedure. Please. My voice doesn't shake. I need to see this. I need him to know that I know everything. He studies me for a long moment, then nods. Okay, but you stay in the car until we have him in custody. Understood? Understood. We drive to my house in a convoy. 3 police cars. Detective Rivera's vehicle with me inside. My house is dark except for the living room light. Garrett is probably watching TV, maybe texting my mother about how well their plan is going. He has no idea his world is about to end. Rivera and 4 officers approach the door. They knock. Once. Twice. I see movement through the window. Garrett's silhouette. He opens the door, probably expecting a neighbor or delivery. Instead, he sees badges. Garrett Wilson, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, forgery, and grand larceny. Rivera's voice carries through the night air. Put your hands behind your back. Even from the car, I can see the color drain from Garrett's face. What? There must be some mistake. I don't. We have video evidence of you and Patricia Chen planning to defraud Jessica Chen of her inheritance. We have recordings of you confessing to forging documents and transferring assets illegally. You have the right to remain silent. Garrett's eyes dart around wildly, looking for escape. Then he sees me, sitting in Rivera's car, watching him. Our eyes meet across the darkness, and I see the exact moment he understands. The exact moment he realizes I know everything. His face goes from confused to shocked to absolutely terrified. I don't smile. I don't cry. I just watch as they put handcuffs on him and walk him to the police car. At the same time, Rivera says into his radio, Team 2 should be at Patricia Chen's residence now. I imagine my mother's door opening. Imagine her face when she sees the police. Imagine her trying to lie, to manipulate, to talk her way out of this like she's talked her way out of everything her whole life. But she can't talk her way out of video evidence. Rivera drives me to the station. I give my official statement, sign paperwork, provide access to all my financial records. Gerald arrives at midnight with the estate documents, showing the fraudulent transfers, the forged signatures. At 2 a.m., they bring my mother in. She's crying, mascara running down her face, demanding to see me. You did this, she screams when she sees me through the window. You ungrateful little bitch. After everything I've done for you. I stand up and walk to the window. Look her directly in the eyes. You mean after everything you tried to steal from me? After you seduced my husband to rob me? After you forged documents and planned to have me committed? Her face twists with rage. You were supposed to be too stupid to figure it out. Too weak. I'm my father's daughter, I say quietly. He taught me to be strong. He taught me to fight. And he left me that inheritance because he trusted me to protect it. You failed, Mum. You and Garrett and Brandon. You all failed. At the mention of Brandon's name, her eyes widen. You know about, I know everything. And the police are picking him up right now. She lunges at the window, but the officers hold her back. I should have drowned you. I should have killed you when I had the chance. But you didn't. And now you're going to prison. For a very long time. They drag her away, still screaming. Rivera comes to stand beside me. Your brother was arrested an hour ago. We found the forged notary stamp in his apartment, along with documents he'd been preparing. He's trying to make a deal, offering to testify against the other 2. Let him, I say. Let them all turn on each other. Let them destroy each other the way they tried to destroy me. 3 months later, I stand in a courtroom and watch as the judge sentences them. Garrett gets 12 years for fraud, conspiracy, and identity theft. My mother gets 10 years for conspiracy and accessory to fraud. Brandon gets 7 years and will be disbarred. The judge also orders them to pay restitution, triple damages, as my father's will specified. Every penny they stole, times 3. They'll be in debt for the rest of their lives. As they're led away in chains, Garrett tries one last time to catch my eye, maybe hoping for mercy, for forgiveness. I look right through him. He's nothing to me now. They all are. After the sentencing, Gerald hands me a folder. All your assets have been recovered and secured. Your father's estate is whole again. He'd be proud of you, Jessica. I take the folder and think about my father, about how he loved me, protected me, even from beyond the grave, about how he knew I was strong enough to fight. That night, I drive to the cemetery, stand at his grave like I did the day of his funeral, when I promised to honor his legacy. I did it, Dad, I whisper. I protected everything you built. I didn't let them win. The wind rustles through the trees, and for just a moment, I swear I can feel him there, proud, loving, at peace, knowing his daughter is safe. I am Jessica Chen, daughter of a man who loved me enough to protect me even after death, survivor of a betrayal that would have destroyed a weaker person. But I'm not weak. I never was, and I never will be.